Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Great America Show. It's great to have you with us. Happy Monday, folks. I hope you all had a great weekend, and appreciate you starting your week with us here on the Great America Show. A new week, and it turns out another Marxist dem, or same, whichever way you want to look at it, may be caught in yet another scandal. New York Attorney General Tish James. Some new mortgage records indicate that she may have committed mortgage fraud on a $200,000 credit line mortgage with Citizens Bank back in 2021. Now, this is all in addition to her already existing problems. Like other mortgages, it requires a signed note, a mortgage document, and a recording with the county clerk. The mortgage document shows that James misrepresented, yes, another time, her 5-unit apartment building as a single-family dwelling. We have the certificate of occupancy. Now, if you own a house, you know what this document is. Even if you don't own a house, you probably know what a C of O is. This false claim allowed Tish James to avoid significantly higher commercial loan closing costs and higher interest rates. In New York, the number of units in a property determines whether a loan qualifies as a residential mortgage with a lower interest rate, which is 1 to 4 family dwellings, or whether it's commercial or multifamily building mortgage with higher interest rates and closing costs that are way higher, and that's 5 or more dwellings. Now, as I show you, this certificate of occupancy for Tish James building at 296 Lafayette Avenue in Brooklyn describes it as a 5-family dwelling. That designation is one and only controlled by a legal authority for a unit count. Now, this means it should be a commercial mortgage, right? No. For 2 decades after buying the property in 2001, Tish James refinanced multiple times while claiming the building only had 4 units. This, of course, is a misrepresentation, only allowed James to qualify for lower residential interest rates that she was not entitled to receive. Even her most recent refinancing in August of 2019, the mortgage documents list 4 units. In June of 2021, Tish James signed this $200,000 credit line mortgage with Citizens Bank for a 25-year term. On the first page of the agreement, under property data, the property type is listed as dwelling only 1 family. You can't make this up. Tish James is perhaps the fraud in chief. If you can see there, joining us on video, highlighted in yellow, a 1 family. Now, this went far beyond James's past misrepresentations. She has now reduced the number to just a 1 family. The reason for the overkill appears clear. Commercial loan closing costs can be up to 7 times higher than residential, and interest rates for commercial properties typically run 1 to 3% higher. The Citizens mortgage document shows that James' fees and taxes were only $4,000, covering city and county taxes and a tax action service fee, TSAF, and an MTA surcharge. Had the property been correctly recorded as 5 dwelling units, James would have been faced with a commercial mortgage reducing tax roughly 2.8% of the loan amount, or about $5,600. Now, in addition, she would have been required to pay a full commercial appraisal of around $5,000, title insurance, a survey, commercial underwriting, and an original fee, and legal costs. Altogether, the closing costs would have landed in the range of $20,000 to $30,000, 10 to 15% of the loan amount. Tish is in a little bit of trouble, I would say. Under New York Penal Law, Article 187, fraud involving a loan or more than $50,000 qualifies as a mortgage fraud in the 2nd degree, a Class C felony punishable by up to 15 years in prison. However, because Citizens Bank is federally insured FDIC institution under U.S. Code, James could see a potential sentence of 30 years in prison and heavy fines. James may have previously been relying on the statute of limitations to expire to shield her. It doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. For general nonviolent felony crime, New York typically imposes a 5-year statute of limitations on these kinds of crimes. Under federal law, making a false claim to a bank or a mortgage lender has a 10-year statute of limitations. You remember what they did to President Trump in good old New York, right? They said he overvalued his property for more favorable mortgages and favorable rates. Except Donald Trump wasn't selling a building with 100 units in it as a single family. Or according to her math, I guess it would be a 10 family. So all of this means that Letitia James's 2021 Citizens Bank loan remains actionable until at least June of 2026. Now, I'm not sure if Bill Pulte's on this, but if I had to guess, he's probably over the target, if not already on it. Whether or not Letitia James has repaid that $200,000 loan, or whether or not Citizens Bank suffered any damages, it's irrelevant according to James's own legal standard. In her high-profile case against President Trump and the Trump Organization, as I mentioned, Letitia James argued that fraud is unlawful even when it doesn't produce a financial victim. That's right, because Donald Trump allegedly did all the things she said, but he paid back his loans on time with all the interest. In the court filings and statements, James emphasizes that the key issue was misrepresentation itself, and that misconduct corrupted the marketplace and undermined the integrity of financial institutions. It's sort of hypocritical of her, I would say, considering she knows that all the while she was accusing President Trump of this, she was guilty of her own fraud. Not that Donald Trump committed any fraud. I don't believe he did. The banks don't believe he did, but Letitia James and Judge Arthur Engoron do. Now, the trial judge, as I mentioned, Judge Engoron, explicitly agreed with her. In his ruling, he stated that whether the bank loses money or are repaid is irrelevant under New York's fraud statutes, and that fraud in business transactions does not require to show financial loss to a victim. So that would pertain to Letitia James, I would think, right? Letitia James' hypocrisy through it all is breathtaking after Donald Trump's fraud conviction in 2024, February of 2024. James released a statement stating, quote, "When powerful people cheat to get better loans, it comes out of the expense of honest and hardworking people. Everyday Americans cannot lie to a bank to get a mortgage to buy a home, and if they did, our government would throw the book at them. There simply cannot be different rules for different people, because no matter how big, rich, or powerful you think you are, no one is above the law." With this new revelation of the 2021 credit line mortgage fraud against Citizens Bank, there is only one plausible action for Special Prosecutor Ed Martin: indict Letitia James for mortgage fraud, according to the state and the federal laws, and according to the prosecutorial standards that James had laid out herself for Donald J. Trump. Rules for thee, but not for me, are the rules that Letitia James wishes she was living by. She did all this. She started all this. She went after Donald Trump for absolutely no reason. Was it jealousy? Was it hatred? I'm not sure what it was. But Letitia James started this entire thing. Her and Alvin Bragg thought they were going to be the ones to save the day. Little did they know while they were doing this, they were empowering President Trump. They were empowering his people, because then came Georgia, and then came the rest of the cases of nonsense, the other New York cases. By the way, you had the New York, you had the appellate court today ruling that President Trump must pay that over $80 million to E. Jean Carroll for defaming her. It used to be back in the day, defamation, the fee was charged based upon who you are and how much it could hurt you. Otherwise, anybody can go out and sue anybody for defamation. But if it doesn't do anything to you, that's where the cost comes in. Over $80 million. Imagine that. The Supreme Court in action today, making America great again, issuing a smackdown to a Biden-appointed judge and allowed the Trump administration to resume their sweeping immigration raids. The three liberal Marxist judges, Kagan, Jackson, and Sotomayor, dissenting in the opinion. Sotomayor fumed in her dissenting opinion, quote, "We should not have to live in a country where the government can seize anyone who looks Latino, speaks Spanish, and appears to work a low-wage job. Rather than that, stand idly by, our constitutional freedoms are lost. I dissent." Sort of interesting for Sotomayor. What does speaking Spanish have to do with it? I happen to speak Spanish. I don't think they're coming to get me. Last month, the federal appeals court kept in place a lower court's order blocking the Trump administration, the DHS, from carrying out some sweeping immigration raids in Southern California. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, stacked with Biden and Clinton judges, sided with the judge on the July order. The three-judge panel included Judge Ronald Goulden, a Clinton appointee, Marsha Berzon, a Clinton appointee, and Jennifer Sung, a Biden appointee. the Supreme Court now today allowing the Trump administration to continue to make America great again, allow them to make America safe again, because this is what everyone voted for. Folks, we're going to take a quick break here on the Great America Show. There's so much more to get to on the other side of this. Scott Bessent over the weekend putting a beat down on Kristen Welker. Hunter Biden, we've got some new numbers on him, and you folks are not going to be happy. Chris Christie is not happy with RFK Jr. John Thune is considering the nuclear option in the Senate. All of that on the other side of this quick break, folks. Please stay with us. The Great America Show continues in just one moment. We'll be right back.
I'm excited to announce that we're having a huge sale on overstock and brand new products. For example, MyPillow Percale bed sheets, every color, every style, every size, only $29.88. Our Percale bed sheets are breathable, cool and crisp, and they're perfect for spring and summer. And check out Rev 7, the next generation of energy drinks. It tastes great, and it gives you energy all day with no jitters and no crashes. Best of all, it's actually good for you. And for a limited time, try our 3-pack absolutely free. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% on our Rev 7 12-packs, or try our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. And our Percale bed sheets, all sizes, only $29.88. Twin size, full size, queen size, king sizes, all $29.88. Inventory is extremely limited at this price, so order now.
Thanks for staying with us, folks, here on the Great America Show. Once again, happy Monday. We appreciate you spending part of your day with us, evening, whatever time of the day you're joining us. We always appreciate it. President Trump departed for the U.S. Open last night. Before departing, as always, President Trump took questions from the pool of reporters waiting outside to get him like they were sharks waiting to get their bait. Little do they know Donald Trump's the bigger shark, and they cannot get him. So a reporter was asking President Trump, one of the Marxist networks, I believe it was NBC or MSNBC, about going to war with Chicago. Now, it was said by Tom Homan, and we have that clip for you, and we're going to bring it to you after. But just take a listen to the beatdown that President Trump puts on this reporter.
When you say that, darling, that's fake news.
Well, why would the Department of Defense?
Listen, be quiet. Listen. You don't listen. You never listen. That's why you're second rate. We're not going to war. We're going to clean up our cities. We're going to clean them up so they don't kill 5 people every weekend. That's not war. That's common sense.
I think at a minimum, 5 or 6 or 7 people are shot each and every weekend in Chicago. I mean, how many is too much? How many is too many? How many stabbings? How many wounded? Over 50 wounded, 5 dead, 10 dead, 7 dead. How many is too many? President Trump, I think, has given them way too long of a leash in Chicago to do whatever they want. I think he's given them the time to try to fix their city. Obviously, Brandon Johnson and J.B. Pritzker are incapable of doing it. This is all unfolded under their watch, and they allow it to continue to happen under their watch. I think President Trump, as I've said, has been far too patient with them. I think it's far past due. Send in the National Guard and let them clean this place up once and for all. It's going to keep happening. You think the criminals are going to stop? They're not going to stop. They know they get away with it. They know they get away with murder, literally. Tom Homan was asked about it on with CNN, Jake Tapper, about his comments about going to war with Chicago, because it's been taken out of context. He means go to war with these cartels, go to war with these criminals. Obviously, you and I understand that, but the Marxist left mainstream media doesn't. Take a listen to Tom.
Look, I think it's worth being taken out of context. If I said we're going to war with the criminal cartels. We're going to war with illegal aliens, public safety threats that rape children, that raped citizens, that committed armed robberies, that distribute narcotics that kill Americans. We're at war with the criminal cartels, and Governor Pritzker protects criminal, illegal alien, public safety threats every day in that state, along with Mayor Johnson. We proved that The first week of the administration, I went to Chicago. I started an operation there. The first day, we arrested 9 sexual predators, most of them child rapists. We arrested 9 members of TDA. Several of those TDA members had a pistol, an illegal pistol with a switch on it, which makes that pistol fully automatic. We arrested 2 illegal aliens that had a homicide conviction. That was the first day in Chicago. So, President Trump and this administration, we're at war with the criminal cartels and those who want to murder and rape the American citizens. You're damn right.
So, yeah, of course that was taken out of context, right? Who wouldn't want to be at war with these people? These are the worst people this world has to offer. The drug cartels, the criminals, the gangbangers. If you want to defend them, that's fine. Take them to live with you. Pay for their paperwork for them to become citizens. Make them your problem. It's so easy for these Democrats to come out here and say, we must do this. We must protect these people. They're good, hardworking people, yada, yada, yada. But if you asked any of them, I guarantee you they wouldn't take them into their house. I guarantee you they wouldn't leave them alone with their children or an elderly or a loved one or let them stay in their homes. The Republicans are just not smart enough to call them out on their hypocrisy. Call their bluff. Donald Trump did it. Ron DeSantis did it when they delivered migrants to Martha's Vineyard. And they were very, very swiftly and quickly relocated, to put it nicely, to, I believe, Boston or somewhere in Massachusetts. Very quickly. When you bring them to the rich areas with the elites. They don't want these people. Yet they'll come out here, as Sonia Sotomayor put in her opinion that I read to you folks, and say, we're racially profiling because someone's skin color is a little bit darker, or because they look Hispanic, or because they speak Spanish. We have to assume they're illegal. That's the narrative that they push, but nobody thinks like that. You and I all have Spanish friends. Went to school with them, worked with them, shared life events with them, married to them. Nobody thinks like that. It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd that the Democrats want to make this about a race or a color rather than what it is. It's a problem with illegal immigration that nobody's ever wanted to take care of. Not George W. Bush, not George H.W. Bush, not Bill Clinton, not Barack Hussein Obama, not Joseph Robinette Biden. Donald Trump is the only president that has ever even attempted to take head on the illegal migrant crisis. Up until Donald Trump, we've had 20, 30, maybe 40 million illegals in this country that have been allowed under George W. Bush, George H.W. Bush, Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, Barack Hussein, Joe Biden. So as soon as Donald Trump talks about it, it becomes a color issue, a race issue. It's sad. It's truly sad that these people are this ignorant on the left and this stupid on the left. But nobody's falling for it anymore. Donald Trump's support among Hispanics, I think, is higher than any president in history. You go look at what he did down in Florida among the heavily Hispanic communities in Miami, Dade County. Hasn't been done before. So nobody's falling for this narrative that Donald Trump's a racist. Nobody fell for it in 2016 or 2020 when he won, or 2024. It's dead. It's dead. Nobody cares. Nobody's falling for it. Continue to try. Those of you who follow the news have probably seen that video of that Ukrainian, that 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee, Irina Zartuska. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing her name, being brutally stabbed on a Charlotte light rail. I mean, absolutely disgusting, sad, beyond belief. If you haven't seen the video, I don't even suggest you watch it. The sick, deranged black man who, for no reason, pulled out a weapon, some sort of knife, and stabbed her in her jugular until she died. 34-year-old DeCarlos Brown Jr. Now, we hadn't heard anything from the North Carolina governor, Marxist Dem Governor Josh Dean. President Trump, just finding out about it yesterday, upon leaving New York to head back to D.C., was asked about it and hadn't seen it. Saw this morning and put out a post about it and actually spoke about it in the prayer breakfast that he did this morning. After posting his statement on X and using moments to push his political agenda, suggesting that his budget proposal will fix the issue, and calling on legislation and legislators to pass it, Governor Steen got hit with a brutal community note on X, calling him out for avoiding the real issue. He attempted to claim that incidents like this one are, quote, why my budget calls for more funding to hire more well-trained police officers. Let's take a look here at his tweet that he had put out. Quote, I am heartbroken for the family of Irina Zartuska, who lost their loved one to this senseless act of violence. I am appalled by the footage of her murder. We need more cops on the beat to keep people safe. That's why my budget calls for more funding to hire more well-trained police officers. If you look down there at the community notes, Carlos Brown, the man accused of stabbing Irina Zartuska murder, had an extensive record of arrests and convictions stretching back to at least 2011. And this man was on the streets. The lunatic had a long crime and rap list dating back to 2007. He was later arrested at least 6 more times on charges including felony larceny, robbery with dangerous weapons, and communicating threats. Most of the charges were, of course, dropped. Other reports and social media posts suggest he may have been arrested at least 12 times. 12 times. Now, before this footage being leaked, you didn't hear about it. You didn't hear about it because the corporate media is absolutely corrupt. 0 stories about this on the Associated Press. 0 stories about this on PBS. The New York Times, the NPR, you guessed it, 0 stories. The Wall Street Journal, 0. BBC, 0. CNN and WAPO, 0. It's the reason why Twitter and Truth Social and other outlets, podcasts, online video shows are booming. Sound like a broken record, but I say it all the time. You cannot get real news anymore by turning on the news. Even news networks that I thought would never be tainted, like ABC or CBS. We used to just turn on every night and get actual news. Tainted. You have to turn to a podcast now or an online video show or Twitter to get the news that's not being covered. It's sad. I never thought we'd hit this day in America, but we finally have. Folks, we're going to take one more quick break here. On the other side of this break, we're going to take up John Thune and the nuclear option. Scott Bessent issued a beatdown over the weekend. Hunter Biden, Chris Christie, so much more on the other side of this quick break, folks. The Great America Show continues in just one moment. Please stay with us. We're coming right back.
I hear every day about the products you all wish MyPillow carried. Well, guess what? We probably do. Slippers, bathrobes, pet beds, blankets, mattresses, sleepwear, loungewear, duvets, comforters, pot holders, aprons, oven mitts, and so much more. And they're all on sale. For example, get our best-selling standard MyPillows for only $14.98. Body pillows, $29.98. 6-piece bath towels or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase, $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bedsheet sets. Any size, any color, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And I've never done this before. When you spend $100 or more, you're going to get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.
Thanks, everybody, for staying with us here on the Great America Show. So President Trump, as I said, took a little trip to New York yesterday to attend the U.S. Open, answered a bunch of reporter questions, as he usually does, because he's the most transparent president in the history of this country, was asked about the potential of blowing up drug cartels inside of Venezuela. Last week, of course, we had the vessel that got blown up, where 10 or 11 people were killed on it, drug runners, with drugs on board that vessel heading towards America. President Trump had these chilling words to say to the cartels. Take a listen.
Are you considering attacking the cartels inside of Venezuela? You attack?
Well, you're going to find out.
You're going to find out. F around and find out. And they've been effing around for far too long, and I think they're soon going to find out. Also, those F-35s that were deployed last week to Puerto Rico happen to be the same F-35s that were used to destroy Iran's nuclear facilities. So Maduro wants to maybe tone it down a little bit, maybe get his drug issue under control in that country before it comes to that point, because it's eventually going to come to that point because of what he's allowed it to come to, what Maduro has allowed to transpire in his country. The drugs pouring in, absolutely disgusting. Secret Service has spent $11 million on Hunter Biden's Secret Service detail, including luxury travel, golf carts, and expensive hotels. Imagine that. Hunter Biden received his robust security detail. RFK couldn't get as much as a single Secret Service body man as he was running for president. The Biden administration, this is according to a report from Just the News, John Solomon, who does a terrific job over there, spent more than $10 million over 3 years on security details for Hunter Biden related to expenses for the former first son, after denying protections for various people, one of those being RFK Jr. Secret Service detail for Hunter Biden cost nearly $11 million, including on travel, real estate, and expensive hotels, according to documents obtained through this FOIA. The documents from January 1st of 2022 to December 31st of 24 indicate that the Biden administration spent $9.3 million on hotels, $1.1 million on airfare and rail travel, and nearly $600,000 on car transport and rentals for Hunter Biden's Secret Service detail. Nearly 95% of these costs were incurred in California, where Hunter Biden often resided, but also were incurred on expensive trips to the Virgin Islands, Nantucket, and other destinations in California. Imagine that. Not bad, I guess, to be a first son. $9.3 million on hotels. I hope they were booking them on like a Chase Sapphire credit card or an Amex card where they were at least getting the points, get some money back, 3%, 4% on that $10 million. Yeah, you know, you could maybe do a little trip, some loyalty rewards programs. I mean, it's an absolute disgrace what this country has allowed to happen over the last 4 years under Joe Biden. Senate Majority Leader John Thune, I guess, deciding he may want to fall in line, may invoke the nuclear option to break the Democrats' stronghold and Senator Chuck Schumer's block on President Trump's judicial nominees. As previously reported, after blocking President Trump's recess appointment, Senate Majority Leader John Thune last week said that the Senate may change the rules to confirm this backlog of President Trump's judicial nominees. Now, in July, President Trump called on John Thune to just cancel August recess to get his nominees through recess appointments. President Trump tweeted this out back then. Quote, hopefully the very talented, I'm sure he's being facetious, John Thune, fresh off many victories over the past 2 weeks, and indeed 6 months, will cancel August recess and the long weekends in order to get my incredible nominees confirmed. We need them badly. Signed, DJT. Thune, of course, did not cancel August recess. And last month, Thune unveiled a procedural change to block President Trump from making any critical appointments during the August recess, effectively aiding Democrats and their obstructionist agenda. Thune quietly secured unanimous consent for a paper-thin Senate scheduled through the Trump appointee confirmation deadline, ensuring only pro forma sessions on 5 key dates in August. After pulling off this stunt, Thune is back from recess and now says he's ready to confirm the backlog of President Trump's nominees. Quote, if the Democrats continue to drag out the confirmation of every single one of these nominees of a duly elected president, then we're going to have to take the steps to get this process back on a reasonable footing. Thune said that last week on the Senate floor. After refusing to work through the August recess, Thune may invoke the nuclear option, which will allow them to get through President Trump's nominees once and for all. It doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't Thune go through all that to not let President Trump just do recess appointments? There's always more to the story than meets the eye. And Thune, rhino through and through, who just doesn't care and wants to block President Trump. It's absolutely absurd, but the Republicans allow this to happen. So I guess it will continue to happen. Scott Bessent giving a beatdown to Kristen Welker over the weekend. I mean, truly sad and embarrassing for her and the low-rated show that she does. And Bessent, just an absolutely brilliant beatdown. Take a listen to her call her out and the mainstream media for what they allege the sky was falling back in April because of tariffs.
Let's look back. Again, when I was here in April, the sky was falling with the tariffs, that everyone is leaving the U.S. Since then, the U.S. bond market has been the best performing bond market in the developed world. And from Barclays Bank to Goldman Sachs to others are saying it is the tariff income and the fiscal improvement that we are seeing. And that's what President Trump is talking about.
Now, she was asking him about the tariffs and how the American people are incurring all the costs. That's not true. Things are now, with tariffs, are still cheaper than what they were under Joe Biden. Remember egg prices? Remember gas prices that they wanted to talk about? Bad talking points for the Marxist dems. So Scott Bessent asked her, if the economy is so bad, then why is it so good right now?
Kristen, if things are so bad, why was the GDP 3.3%? Why is the stock market at a new high? Because, with President Trump, we care both about big companies and small companies. And you're quoting big companies, but the big company index, the S&P, is at a new high.
Hasbro says they're going to have to increase their prices. Goldman Sachs says 86% of the tariff revenue collected so far has been paid by American businesses and consumers. So just bottom line, Mr. Secretary, do you acknowledge that these tariffs are a tax on American consumers?
No, I don't.
Even though you have companies saying they are going to have to increase prices, and given the fact that 86% of these tariffs so far have been paid by Americans.
You're quoting Goldman Sachs. So
yes, Goldman Sachs, correct.
I made
Which I said, yeah.
I made a good career trading against Goldman Sachs.
Okay.
Scott Bessent has a triple-digit IQ. Kristen Welker has no IQ. They want to talk about tariffs. They don't even understand it. Another person who was on TV over the weekend is no friend of ours. He's none other than Chris Christie, everyone's favorite former governor who shut down a bridge to get political revenge. What's Chris upset about now? Probably upset he doesn't have a job. Probably upset he was not part of President Trump's administration. I don't know. You go down the list of what Chris is upset with. This time, he's upset with RFK Jr. Why?
I want to know, you think Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is the best man to be leading public health? No. Answer the question.
It's not my decision.
No. You're supporting the decision. You're supporting the decision.
I support his decision.
You just called him a humble, qualified man. So you think he's the best person to lead public health in this country?
I think he's the best person.
He's a joke.
Chris Christie, the public health aficionado, telling us what's good for the country's health. Imagine that. Good old Chris Christie. Let's end this show, folks, on a light note. President Trump yesterday, before heading back to Washington, D.C., offering to buy a reporter dinner because it's so safe now in Washington, D.C.
You have essentially a crime-free zone. I mean, here we are on a nice Sunday evening. If you'd like, it feels like Saturday, actually. If you like, you could go out and you could have dinner on me, but you wouldn't do that. But you could have dinner on me if you'd like. Go ahead. What else?
President Trump. It's why he's so likable. He's just a regular guy. I think John McEnroe at the U.S. Open called him the Queen's boy. Just a regular guy who can relate to everybody, and the reason why he's won 3 elections. The only president in history to do it. Folks, that's all for us tonight here on the Great America Show. We hope to see you back here tomorrow. Truth, justice, and the American way still at the forefront. We'll be at the forefront as well tomorrow. Same time, same place. Until then, may God bless you. May God bless America, and may God bless the great Lou Dobbs. Folks, we'll see you tomorrow with the great Roger Stone. Have a terrific night, everybody.